Alright, what's going on, everybody? So, we need to talk about E3 2021. So far, this year has been very mid overall. Xbox has had the best presentation so far, showing off game after game. Their presentation wasn't filled with a bunch of filler, and it was paced really well. Sure, we didn't get stuff like Avowed, Fable, or Hellblade, or Perfect Dark, but they gave us something. They gave us new announcements. And you can say, maybe they didn't give us enough gameplay, but they gave us way more. At least from what I can remember, they gave us way more gameplay than what they gave us back in E3 2019. I mean, at the very least, they gave us something. They showed us something. Ubisoft was garbage. There was no Splinter Cell, no Beyond Good and Evil. Gearbox was such a waste of time. I didn't even bother doing a separate video for it. And man, they wasted a lot of time promoting that abomination of a Borderlands movie that's going to be coming out and showing a bunch of filler in between, basically in between these smaller little game announcements or whatever. With the exception of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which I'm pretty sure that's going to be decent at best. But today they wasted so much time. It was the biggest waste of time and resources for Take-Two and Capcom. I didn't even bother watching Take-Two's presentation since it was just a panel talking about diversity and inclusion in gaming. Nobody asked for that crap. Boo! Nobody wants that. Nobody cares about that crap. Show us the games. Please tell me if they showed games there. If they did, I'll retract my statement, but I don't think that they did. From what I read, they said that they're not really focusing on their products and stuff. It was just going to be a panel of them talking about inclusion and diversity in gaming, which is stupid. But whatever. But yeah, waste of freaking time, man. And then a couple of hours ago, we just had Capcom's showcase, which is basically a bunch of Twitter announcements. That's what a lot of this stuff is, man. If I'm being perfectly honest with y'all, that's literally what a lot of this content in most of these shows have been this year, and it's sad. Now listen, I want to make one thing clear before I continue. I understand that developers have been affected by the pandemic. I've mentioned this multiple times in my other videos in regards to E3. I don't want to sit up here and sound entitled and ungrateful because I am glad that E3 is back. Compared to last year, this year is way better because at least all the information is here at one time. It's not like spread out. So I'm glad E3 is back, but at the same time, I kind of feel like if you ain't gonna show us anything, like if you're not gonna show up and show us something, worthwhile, then just don't show up at all. I mean, look at what Konami did, and I can't believe I actually have to praise Konami. I know people hate Konami, but come on, look at what Konami did. They were supposed to show up, but they decided not to show up. And why? Because they weren't ready. Their games weren't ready. Their stuff wasn't ready. Capcom should be ashamed of themselves for wasting people's time. Not only did they waste people's time, but they wasted, like, Capcom, you wasted your own money too. Do y'all realize that they had to basically hire people and get things together to do these presentations? Like, they wasted so much freaking time and money and resources on this. Like, Capcom barely showed us anything. It was just updates on games we already knew about, and they had the nerve to waste time talking about esports. And the person that they had presenting the whole thing, she was so fake. She had this fake smile on. Hey guys, we're gonna show you these games, man. Like it was corny. The only thing that I bothered to pay attention to in that whole thing was Monster Hunter Stories. That Monster Hunter Stories trailer, it still continues to look interesting as far as the story goes. And they also announced that Monster Hunter Stories 2 will be getting a demo on June 25th. I'll be checking it out, and depending on how I feel about it, I might either buy it day one or I'll just wait for a price drop. Other than that, everything else that they showed I could care less about. They showed more Resident Evil stuff again, and I know there's a lot of big Resident Evil fans. I want to say that they showed something in regards to that Resident Evil multiplayer thing. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they showed something like that. And I don't think really Resident Evil fans are really checking for this multiplayer type stuff. I think most of them just want Resident Evil 4, that remake. That's supposed to be in development, but listen, don't ask me what they showed exactly, because like I said, I wasn't really paying attention to the Resident Evil stuff. I was just playing the game in the background. I just had the scream on in the background. But then, so after the Resident Evil thing, they spent a lot of time, or at least that's how it felt. It felt like they spent too much time on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, which I thought was pretty boring. I know people like those games, and I'm not gonna crap on you if you like those games. It's all good, but it was boring to me. And then after that, they showed some cringe-worthy commentators talking about Street Fighter and esports. Then they ended the show basically recapping what we just saw. It was a complete and utter waste of time. If I had to give this little showcase thing a grade, it would be an F, just like Gearbox. It's really up to Nintendo and Bandai Namco to save E3 tomorrow. Because other than that, Microsoft won. Microsoft got the bag. They got a W. And considering how their E3 was in 2019, it's a comeback for Microsoft. Gonna be honest, I don't have a lot of faith in Bandai Namco given what they've shown in previous live screens in other years. And if I recall correctly, Nintendo won E3. I know a lot of people are gonna debate who won E3 every year, but in my eyes, I felt like Nintendo won E3. If I'm remembering correctly, I think Nintendo won E3 last time because basically Xbox dropped the ball. I could be misremembering that, but I believe that was the case. Xbox is holding things down right now, like I said, but it's really up to Nintendo now. They really need to show up with some big hitters. And no, because I know a lot of Nintendo fans, like there's some irrational Nintendo fans that think all Nintendo has to do is show up with Mario Odyssey 2, something like that, with like Mario Odyssey 2 or Breath of the Wild 2, and then it's done. It's done. That's all they need to show up with. No, they gotta show up with more than that. They gotta show up with games that would get anybody. I don't care if you're a Nintendo fan, Xbox fan, whoever. They gotta show up with games that will get other people looking at Nintendo and saying, okay, I need me a Switch. I need to buy this game. They need to come out with games. I don't care what they have to do. If they have to revive some old stuff, like I know this probably won't happen, but maybe show up with something like a Earthbound, like a Earthbound remake in 3D, or like F-Zero, like because people are looking for F-Zero, like F-Zero, Star Fox, stuff like that. And then show up with new IPs, man. Show up with interesting new IPs, man. Like they gotta show us something, man. Nintendo has been relatively quiet since the pandemic hit, so I'm hoping that they have something good to show us. I'm hoping that they don't spend too much time on Zelda, even though I know it's Zelda's 35th anniversary, but it's also Metroid's anniversary. It's also the anniversary of other properties that they own. I'm hoping that they go back to the well, they go back to the other properties that they have and revive them and celebrate them, and just give us something different. And I can't speak for everybody, but give me something different. Also, give me a good Kirby game. Not a bad one. Not like these other ones that they've been dropping before. But anyway, that's pretty much all I gotta say for now. Let me know how you guys have been feeling about E3 so far. Thank you guys for listening and watching and all that. I'm out of here. Peace.